Welcome to Inspired Living with Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. Every Wednesday, Marc, along with his special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Marc will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Marc is a tested, certified, and professional spiritual medium, metaphysical teacher, healer, and spiritual advisor with a spiritual practice based in Seattle, Washington. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. That's a quote from John Wayne and one of the opening quotes to a book I just completed called Monsterland by Michael Okon, who is our special guest today. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful, transformative planet of ours. This is Inspired Living Radio. I am your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for the next hour as we explore and discover through body, mind, and spirit. I want to just say, hopefully the sound quality is good because I have updated my entire studio with a new sound system, headphones, microphone, the whole works. I was listening to last week's episode where I talked about how society changes from pandemics, and it was a little clunky on my end, so it was time to upgrade the microphone after 6 seasons of Inspired Living Radio. So we're here every Wisdom Wednesday, every second and fourth Wisdom Wednesday here on the OMTimes Radio Network. Thank you for joining the Inspired Listening community. We have a Facebook page called Inspired Living Radio. If you want to join that page, it is a public page where you can get all of the information about Inspired Living Radio, the upcoming guests that we have coming to the show, a fun summer series, and of course, all of the platforms that Inspired Living Radio is now broadcasting through. You can also learn more about my work at marclainhart.com or just internet search The Intuitive Prospector. And if you want to follow us on Instagram or Twitter, the handle for that is @InspiredForUs. That's the number 4, @InspiredForUs. And that's on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, our main page is here on Facebook. So we're live at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. And then once the live broadcast is over, we do go over to our many different podcasting platforms. We're now found on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, Podbean, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Podchaser, Deezer, Pod Addict. I mean, the list goes on and on. So there's a lot of ways to listen to the live broadcast live here at OMTimes Radio, or go over to any of those platforms for the past 6 seasons with just amazing shows. So with that, we're going to be talking about just some fun stuff today. It's a show dedicated to everything that's you're curious about, whether it's, ghosts, aliens, metaphysics, the universe, spirituality, movies, books, ghost stories, Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot. The list goes on and on and on. And I'm going to read a little bit about what Michael is doing and how we came to connect and talk a little bit more about that. But I thought he would be just a really cool dude to bring on Inspired Living Radio to inspire us and to get us thinking outside the box. And Michael Okon is an award-winning, best-selling author of multiple genres, including the paranormal, thriller, horror, action, adventure, self-help. He graduated from Long Island University with a degree in English and then later received his MBA in business and finance. He's coming from a family of writers, and he has storytelling in his DNA. Michael has been writing from as far back as he can remember, his inspiration being his love for films and their impact on his life. From the time he saw the amazing movies The Goonies, and I love The Goonies. I remember just getting swept away in treasure hunting and, Hey You Guys and Chunk, and just a really fantastic movie. And he was hooked on the idea of entertaining people through these unforgettable characters. Michael is a lifelong movie buff, a music playlist, and a sucker for self-help books. He lives in the North Shore of Long Island with his wife and his children. You can learn more about Michael through our Facebook page that has all of his links to Twitter, to Instagram, and Facebook. And Michael, welcome to Inspired Living Radio. And we're going to talk about your YouTube channel here in just a second. But thanks for coming on, and let's talk about your books, Monsterland and Monsterland Reanimated.
What an intro, Mark. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. So glad you and I not only became, clients of each other, but actual friends. And really, that was some intro. Thank you so much. Really, really excited to be here.
Well, you're very welcome. We always like to say you are the inspired and the inspiration. And our show motto is, be inspired, inspire others, and of course, inspire before we expire, right? And what better way to talk for the next hour about movies and the Goonies and Aliens and your books, Monsterland. Like I said, I just wrapped up. I get a lot of books with doing radio. I read about a book a week, and I just finished the first book that you sent me, and thank you so much for sending it to me. And
my pleasure.
Got your John Hancock on the front page saying, enjoy. I appreciate that. And now I'm getting ready to start Reanimated. But let's start with the books first, and let's talk about how we connected and it kind of brought us to this moment.
Sure. I mean, so basically, the journey, it's been an exciting one. I'm gonna take you back. I'm gonna go as far back as I can, take it back to. I was really big into the law of attraction back, I would say, 2011, 2009, 2011. I was just devouring anything law of attraction, and I wanted to write a book. It was always a dream. I used to write screenplays in college. That was my first love. Was writing stories in high school and then writing screenplays in college. And the screenplays, I pitched a few to a few producers. Nothing ever really went anywhere. So, I was on Amazon one day, and because I was so big into the law of attraction, the subconscious mind, the universe, all that stuff, I scrolled down on Amazon, and it said, self-publish with us. And I go, oh, my God, this is my shot. I said, I have to write a book called Ask the Universe. So I said, let me buy the domain first. And I looked, and Ask the Universe obviously was not taken. So I said, what about Just Ask the Universe? And Just Ask the Universe was available. And I bought the domain, and I started writing this law of attraction book about, creating a blueprint for your life, creating a self-worth of your life and working hard for your goals. And I wrote, it took me about 3 weeks. It was easy. It was quick. It's about 100 pages. That was in 2011. So we are coming up, September 2021 is going to be the 10-year anniversary of of a modern day classic, Just Ask the Universe. That's not ego talking. That's this book has paid for my writing adventure, so to speak, my writing journey. Thank you. So I wrote Just Ask the Universe, and the universe linked it up with this little known book called The Secret. And I'm sure everyone listening to this knows about The Secret. And I got linked up with The Secret. And 10 years later, I'll spare you all the details, Just Ask the Universe is still in the top 200-300 most read books on Amazon in spirituality. It gets into the top 100, and then it'll drop back down to the 200s. But it was so fulfilling, and I get emails still to this day from people all over the world. You helped me get the job I wanted. You helped me get the wife I wanted, the boyfriend I wanted, the business I wanted. And I just said, I didn't help you anything. You did it yourself. I just gave you the keys that I learned from all these books that I've read. So I said to myself, after writing Just Ask the Universe, I said, I could write a self-help book. Let me try and write a novel. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I've always been into creative writing. I was an English major, so I've written my fair share of papers on classics of like Frankenstein and all this, all the classic books. And I took out all my old screenplays from my closet, and I came up with this moniker called Michael Philip Cash. My mom, my brother, and I were sitting at work, and we were like, we got to come up with this name, right? My mom was going to be my publicist. My brother was going to create all the book covers because I'm not visually creative, for book covers. And I was going to write the books from my screenplays. I was going to take the screenplays and flesh out these books. And I created this Michael Philip Cash. Philip, because I was really obsessed with Philip Seymour Hoffman, the actor back when he was really, his career was skyrocketing. And Cash, because I was listening to a lot of Johnny Cash at the time. So you could still hear me, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, because I'm on a headset, and sometimes this headset gets a little wonky. So I started writing all these novels, and I became like this indie sensation, this Michael Philip Cash. My mom started promoting my stuff all over the internet. I'm winning awards left and right. And again, all I'm doing is taking these screenplays and flushing them out into these, 200-page books.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like in 2014. I always wanted to write a zombie book. I never did, though. I'm a huge fan of World War Z, Apocalypse Z, all those books about, zombies and everything. So I was watching Jurassic World with my children. I have right now, I have a 12-year-old boy named Alexander and an 8-year-old girl named Kayla. And we were watching Jurassic World, and we were like, oh, my God, this is the greatest. Love this. So cool, blah, blah. I'm like, they did dinosaurs. They did a dinosaur theme park. I'm like, why isn't there a zombie theme park? And I said, oh, my God, I think I just got something. I think I just got my next. What I did was I always write the script first, and then I write the book after. So I think I have my next script idea. So I called my brother immediately, my brother Eric, and I say, bro, I think I just got a winner. We have Jurassic Park, but what about like a monster theme park, like just like a Zombie Land or something? Well, but Zombie Land was a movie, like a zombie theme park. And my brother's like, nope. I'm like, what do you mean no? He's like, you can't just do zombies. I'm like, what do you think? He's like, you have to do every single monster. Mm-hmm. And that night I started beating out the story for this book called Monsterland. And I wrote the script in about 3 weeks. And then the book took me a while, and I self-published the book. And it's nothing like the one you read now. And there's level ups of this manuscript that I'm going to tell you about. So I wrote this book. Michael Philip Cash wrote Monsterland, and my mom started publicizing it, and it took off. It did really well. I was selling about 4,000 copies a month, and I got contacted by. Yeah, no, it was unbelievable. And then I got contacted by an agent in London. This guy named Keith. He was with this company. I don't even remember the company's name, but his name was Keith, and he's like, I want to represent you. I'm like, great. What do you need from me? Now, mind you, if you go back to Just Ask the Universe, I wrote down everything I wanted. I wanted an agent. I wanted a feature film deal. Mm-hmm. I wanted a mega this. I wrote down everything I wanted when I wrote Just Ask the Universe for my book career. So fast forward to this guy, this agent saying, I want to represent you. I said, sure, what do you want me to do? He's like, I'll send you a contract. I said, great. Sends me a contract. I can't read a contract. I don't know if he's going to take the rights for my book. So about 2 months before this guy contacted me, I was reading this book called How to Sell a Screenplay in Hollywood or something. It was by the late, great Sid Field. And in this book was this woman named Susan Grode. And she's an entertainment attorney. And they were talking about this new movie out called Top Gun. All right, that's how old this book was. Right. All right, this was like 1986, 1987. And I said, I had this contract. I said, I don't know an entertainment attorney. I said, let me read, see if this woman's still around, and I'll reach out to her. She's in this book. So I found her online. I reached out to her, and I sent her an email. Hello, Miss Grode. My name is Michael Okon. I'm a writer, blah, blah, blah. And I hit send. Not 2 minutes later, my cell phone rings. And it's this lady, Susan Grode. And my day job is my family and I own a global car service. And we do the entertainment industry, and we do Hollywood and movie premieres and the Oscars and all that stuff. And that's the day job. And that never coincided with my writing gig. My writing stuff was always at night when everybody went to sleep and all the business was over for the day. I would always write. And this woman calls me and she's like, Michael, I've been a client of your family business for 30 years. And I flipped out. I'm like, I had no clue. I don't want you to ever think that
attracts like.
Like, exactly. And I said, I had no idea that this woman even used us. And she goes, you don't want to sign with this international agency. She's like, let me introduce you to a friend of mine. And I'm going to spill you a lot more details. Monsterland was optioned. The manuscript that you read was optioned by the producer of The Smirks. The option ran out, so I'm allowed to talk about it now. It was optioned. He hired 2 screenwriters to pitch me their take on it. And it was fun. It was cute. It wasn't what you read, but it was an interesting concept, and they optioned it, and they shopped it around, and nothing ever happened with it. And Monsterland became published, and then Monsterland Reanimated became published. And it kind of took, it went up. It was going up this roller coaster, and then it came down. And I was just banging my head against the wall for years. It was just, everything was like promise, 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 but nothing ever came true. So about a year ago, my attorney, this woman, Susan Grode, who signed me, she was representing me, She's like, I got this new guy for you, this new manager. So I'm just signed with this new manager in September 2019 before the pandemic. And he's like, I read Monsterland, and this is a theme park. This is going to be the next big thing. So, I kind of want to erase the year 2020 because nothing really happened with that year for all of us, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly, for all of us. And right now, my manager, his name is John Levin, introduced me to a Nickel Fellowship winner. And the Nickel Fellowship is like the Oscars, but just for screenplays. It's the creme de la creme of screenwriting. So this guy named Walker McKnight won the Nickel Fellowship. John introduced the two of us and said, I think that Walker should write the screenplay for Monsterland. And we're now into the third draft. The script is done. And right now, as of summer 2021, Monsterland is being shopped around to all the majors in the entertainment industry. And I know something is going to happen with it. And the manuscript that you read, Mark, I had to add an additional 35,000 words to that manuscript because my new agent in New York, my new literary agent said, the original was about 65,000 words. He's like, we got to get to 90,000. And that's exactly what I did. So, yeah. So there's a newer, it's like 86,000 words. So there's a newer, I had to beat Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Okay. J.K. Rowling, I think, had 75,000 words. I had to have 10,000 more than her. Okay. I'm just teasing. That's kind of true, but like not really. So right now it's being shopped around, and I'm pretty convinced that something is going to happen with this book. I'm waiting. I'm holding my breath.
Well, I'm with you, and we're going to go to our first break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about that, because when I did a reading for you, I said, what did I see from this, this book becoming an actual movie, a very successful movie. So we're going to talk about that when we come back from our break here in 2 minutes. And as Sylvester Stallone always said, plan B. You always have to have a plan B. We'll be back here in 2 minutes of Inspired Living Radio.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Listeners, we hope you're enjoying the shows here on OMTimes Radio. Marc Lainhart here, and host of Inspired Living Radio. And I'd like to invite you to my morning show of inspiration, encouragement, healing, motivations, transformations, and discovering that diamond within. Metaphysical Mocha Mondays every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, over on the Intuitive Prospector Facebook page and my YouTube channel, Soul Adventures. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover that diamond within.
COVID-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
Do you feel like your emotions are all over the place? That's normal during this abnormal time. There are a number of ways to cope. Maintain a healthy routine, get enough sleep, eat nutritious food, and exercise at least 30 minutes each day. Schedule some time to talk with a friend or family member. And remember, you can always take a few deep breaths to feel more centered.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Inspired Living Radio. Our special guest today, Michael Okon, is the award-winning, best-selling author of multiple genres, including paranormal, thriller, action, adventure, and self-help books. And if you were listening to the first part of the show, you realized he is also goes by the name of Michael Philip Cash, which has many different books from Witches Protection, Stillwell, A Haunting, The After House. There is Monsterland, the original. Sounds like it's in its third edition based on this rewrite that you just did, Michael.
Yeah.
The Flip. Geez, how many books have you published now? Under
Michael Samuels, which was my spiritual banner, I published 3 books, self-published 3 books. Under Michael Philip Cash, I think it was like 15. And then under Michael Okon, right now is 3, is Monsterland Reanimated, Witches Protection Program. And then I have like another 4 manuscripts ready to go as soon as something takes off. So yeah, just, yeah, man, it's been crazy, you know?
Well, that's life though, right? That's, finding, let's go back to the self-help, because everything, it's crazy right now, but you visualized, you started to manifest, you started to take action that, you talked about The Secret, and, some people know about The Secret, some people don't, because it's a secret, right? But
exactly.
It's you're manifesting, and the power of visualization and manifestation is so paramount for those that want to change their lives. I always talk about the 3 C's in life: make a choice, take a chance, see the change. You've done all of that, so that, embrace the craziness and embrace what's to unfold. Last year was kind of a pause for everybody. We say hindsight, 2020 is hindsight, and I think we'll look back at that year and be like, yeah, that was a pause. But as we start to open back up and get to this new normal, I think there's just great potential for these books and where they're going. I can see it on the big screen as a lot of fun. I cross between maybe, I don't know, Zombieland and World War Z, because I love both those genres, right? One was more on comedy. One was more based on, more seriousness of, just the intensity of World War Z. And I believe they're making a sequel to that, if I heard correctly. And then, of course, you talked, earlier about a little known movie called Top Gun. Well, the next Top Gun is coming out. It looks fantastic, and that's the beauty of movies, right, Michael? It's the beauty to but to actually escape the chaos of life, to escape the problems and the things that we see in our world, and just have that 2 hours or 3 hours. Or if you watch the Justice League, like I did, Zack Snyder's cut of the Justice League, 4 hours as the movie goes, you can just really escape and just kind of lose yourself in the power of books and movies. And I think, people will be seeing Monsterland and Monsterland Reanimated up on the big screen at some point. And there's so many pathways now, not just through Hollywood, but now you've got, Amazon Studios, you've got Netflix, you've got Hulu. I mean, there's just so many pathways for people to really get their creative ideas out there. So I have no doubt, just like I said, when reconnected in a very interesting way, did we not?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We interviewed Michelle Barr on, my brother and I have a podcast called Okon Bros, OKONBROS. And it started out as like a business podcast that we were talking about, our family business and everything. And then it merged and it kind of like leveled up into like speaking to mediums and influencers and people, we love that stuff. People that, talk to the dead or who have near-death experiences. And I asked Michelle Barr, I said, she's, the queen of psychic mediums. I said, who do you have? We're interested. And she was quick to, say your name and make an introduction. And, I had a reading with you. It was one of the best readings I've ever had. I mean, you really, my dad came through. We just sat down and you're like, your dad's here, and the stuff that you were saying, I call it non-Facebook. Like, you can't find that stuff on Facebook.
Correct.
You can't find that stuff on Google. The stuff that you were mentioning, you knew that I was a writer, and you knew there was stuff happening with my books. It goes beyond the law of attraction, Mark. And I think the law of attraction is really one of the most important things that you can do to kind of level up your game, right? Like, if you want something, you have to write it down. You got to write down your goals. You have to program your subconscious mind, and you have to go and work your. I can curse on this show, right? I could say ass, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, you can work your butt off. Yeah, we'll keep it as PG-13. We'll keep it PG-13, but like you could work. You got to work your butt off, right?
Right.
I'll tell you a real quick story about my father. Right before my father passed away, my father and I were very spiritual, very spiritually connected, very intuitive with each other, and I have a special bond with him. Even in the form that he's in now, which is not the physical form, I still feel a connection to my father. I still feel he's around me, guiding me, helping me. And we always said, I'm like, Dad, when you get there, because he had lung cancer about 18 years ago, and he beat the lung cancer, but the COPD eventually got him. So anyone out there in radio podcast land, don't smoke. Put the cigarettes down. It's not worth it. The ending is very ugly. And so my father passed away from COPD, and always leading up to that, I said, Dad, when you get there, I don't remember where it is. I don't remember what it looks like, but I know we're all going back there. We're making our way back to that place. I said, you got to tell me the secrets of the universe. You got to tell me the secrets of the universe when you get there. Because my father was huge into the law of attraction. He was huge into the afterlife and self-help and everything. So I was having this reading with this gentleman by the name of George Anderson. I don't know. Have you ever heard of George Anderson before?
Yep.
Yeah.
George is
George, Long Island guy, has known my family for, 40 years. Doesn't know us personally, but we've been going to him for legit 40 years. And I went to him. It was during the pandemic. It was June 2020. And my dad came through, and he was like, it's me. I'm here. This is what's going on. The pandemic's still going on. It's going to be the rest of the year. I mean, my dad warned me in November 2019 through George Anderson, you better buckle up because 2020 is going to be turbulent. This is before the word coronavirus was even out there in the public. It was crazy. I was getting warning signals from all these mediums, from my father, who's like, you better be careful. It's going to get really hairy. Just buckle up and just deal with the ride. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about it.
Hold on.
Sure.
No, I was saying, like, hold on, like literally hold on. It's going to be a ride.
100%. And he said that to me through several different mediums. So again, I'm on the phone with George Anderson, and George is like, your dad's coming through. And this is not the first time that my dad mentioned about the angels. But George is like, your dad wants to give you the secrets of the universe. And I'm like, here we go. I'm like, this is what I waited for. He passed in 2018, February 2018. And in June of 2020 is when he really came through and let loose. He told me about the angels in previous readings with other mediums, but this, he really opened up. He's like, if you want anything in this world, anything that's just out of your reach, that you can't get, but you can achieve it, you got to start believing in magic with a K. You got to start researching the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is real. Archangels are real. Magic with a K, not Penn and Teller, David Copperfield magic.
Right, with a K.
Real, yes, magic with a K, he says. Because when my father passed away, all this crazy banana stuff started happening to my family. I got the manager that started taking Monster to the next level. We started getting these accounts for our business. We became the largest ground transportation company in the world. And my father was telling us throughout all these readings, we were going to, 2-3 times a quarter to get a reading with these different mediums. And he was saying, he's like, do you like what's going on? Do you like it? Do you see the growth that's happening? See what's going on? He's like, I'm doing stuff from over here. But he wouldn't reveal the secrets. He finally revealed to me that archangels are real. I started praying to the archangels. I got this book. He told me, he went shopping with me with George Anderson in the meeting. George is like, your dad is telling me to go on Amazon and buy the 72 Angels of Magic. The 72 Angels of Magic by Damon Brand. He's like, start working with the archangels. And ever since then, within 1 year, our life has completely changed, Mark. Completely changed. Our podcast got huge. The books are I mean, you even saw it, that Monsterland something was going on with Monsterland. Our business is flourishing. We're in the process of buying one of our biggest competitors. I mean, stuff that just would have been a dream of ours 10 years ago is actually coming to fruition. If the law of attraction is elementary school, and I'm not belittling the law of attraction at all. The law of attraction is probably just as important as elementary school. It's learning your ABCs. It's learning your 1, 2, 3s. It's learning how the universe works. Law of attraction is grades K through 5. Working with archangels is PhD. It's higher level than college. This is something so much bigger. Our world lived on magic until Christianity came in, I don't know, the 1500s, 1600s. But our world was all about magic. I'm reading this book called the History of Magic with a K. You can't believe the famous people that use magic to advance their needs. I am literally manipulating reality to bend my will through third parties of archangels. You can't believe it.
Yeah, well, we talked about this on your YouTube show about how your focus determines your reality, right? And we didn't talk about George Anderson. George Anderson is considered by many to be one of the greatest mediums living today and one of the most scientifically tested, right?
He's the gold standard, they say.
And I didn't know that you even had a connection to him. I had read his book, Ask George Anderson, when my spiritual journey started off. But one of the things that, people have to remember when you start to manifest, when you start to visualize, something that I got into when I was taking my graduate studies here in Seattle in sports medicine, I had no desire. I had no idea that I would even be doing radio, doing readings like what you and I went through and bringing your dad through. I had no idea I'd even be doing that. And it was through my sports medicine that I discovered the power of meditation, the power of visualization, the power of manifesting, that magic that you talked about with the K that starts to change your reality, your belief systems, 100%. Who you are at the cellular level. And, my mantra became believe it, see it, achieve it. Not to see it. Most people want to see it first. And if you gotta have that belief in the magic, belief in yourself, and believe that your focus can start to carve out a new reality. But you got to give yourself time, right? You said this has been over 10 years that you started to, list out and write out and change your conscious, but people don't have a lot of patience. And, for our listeners out there, have patience. Patience is a very big part of this journey because it will deliver in its due time and in its right time for where you're at. And I'm just excited for you, brother. I'm excited to hear all the stuff that's taken place for you. I love to see people be successful, see people, changing the world, inspirational, helping others. That's what this show is all about. Thank you to Michelle for giving, me a recommendation to come have a reading, because that set this whole chain of events off to where, we had a reading, we talked about your book, I came on your show on YouTube, and then you're here now on Inspired Living Radio. And I have a feeling that you're going to probably be back, Michael, as we continue to talk about many different things. But let's, you talked about in the opening of Monsterland from John Wayne, courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. So it can be scary. It can, that unknown of, that things that we don't know, it can be scary, but that's what courage is all about. So 2020, I knew 2020 was going to be quite a storm for many of us. I talked about in my prediction show, early 2020 and 2019, how that year was going to be a transformative year for many of us. And here we are today, and we're getting better, but we're not going back to the normal that we once knew. Just so everybody knows, that normal you once enjoyed is not the normal that we're going to have. There's a new normal and a transformation that's coming from all this. And, you have to have courage to embrace that because it's the unknown. But I always go back to Nikola Tesla, man. That guy was so connected in so many different ways.
100%. 100%.
You're talking about your dad. It's like if you want to start to unlock the secrets of the universe, you think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. That's where the secrets lie. Meditation,
100%.
Metaphysics, writing. Writing is a form of meditation, right? And you're sharing your thoughts that ripple out to many people around the world. So exciting. I'm excited with energy just for you. So
thank you, man. Thank you.
But let's talk about that transformational piece. So again, if you want to check out Michael's work, you can go to our website. What is the best website to actually connect with you? Whether it's Michael Philip Cash or what?
Everything
goes. You got a couple names.
Yeah. So everything now is under michaelokon.com, and I was writing under aliases, but my attorney was like, Hollywood doesn't like aliases. Write under your real name. So that's why this version of Monsterland is under Michael Okon. That's why everything moving forward. Michael, MichaelOkon.com. And you could always find me also at Okon Bros, OKONBROS.com. That's my brother and my podcast where all of our stuff is. But yeah, it's really, I know we're taking a break in a couple minutes, right? You'll let me know when, right?
Yep, about 2 minutes.
Yeah, no. So, I love how you incorporated the quotes from my book, Monsterland. I wrote about a plague in 2014, about a plague that came from China in 2014, turned humans into zombies. Monsterland is an allegory for what we experienced in 2020. The civil unrest, Congress couldn't get their act together. I got to tell you, in the self-published version, this is not a political statement. I'm not pro, I'm not against. I don't get involved in politics at all over anything. But I described the antagonist, Vincent Conrad, as a cross between P.T. Barnum and Donald Trump, but celebrity apprentice Donald Trump. And obviously I edited that out for the version that I sent you, and then the newer versions edited out even more. But this kind of like this guy with grand ideas, with big ideas, and very, very bipolar. And a lot of the book, they're fighting, is this guy real or is he a scumbag? And you have, Wyatt, who's the protagonist, saying like he's the greatest guy ever. He wants to change the world. And then you have his stepfather, Carter, saying, no, the guy's a shyster. He's a snake oil salesman. This is not a good guy. I was like a prophet, Mark. Like, I am very intuitive. Right. I'm very psychic. I didn't realize how prophetic Monsterland is. Monsterland is going to be a 6, possibly a 7-book series. I'm already on book 4. We have Monsterland, the main book, Monsterland Reanimated, which is the sequel, which is then there's Monsterland Beneath, and then there's Monsterland Above, and I'm writing Monsterland. There's a Monsterland Now, and I'm a little iffy on the 6th and 7th titles, but really it's a contrast to what society is right now. Cancel culture, people aren't getting along, unnecessary deaths in the street, anti-monsters. It really pretty unbelievable. I didn't realize how prophetic it was.
Yeah, it's very much like Gene Roddenberry, right? Gene Roddenberry was a seer. He could see into the future, wrote a lot of the Star Trek, and penned a lot of what he was seeing. And, people can say we didn't know, this pandemic was coming. We did. They did a movie in 2010 called Contagion that talked all about everything that we're going through right now. So we
100%.
We were aware. And, for those of us that see, it's hard because, we see it, but we have to wait for it. Again, we're back to this waiting. When you're operating from a different dimension compared to the third dimension, we have to wait for it to catch up. And that can sometimes take, a couple years, if not a decade, for it to finally unravel. But yeah, for those of us that see and those of us that do, the psychic work or the predictive work or the futurist work, a futurist is psychic in my opinion, because they're seeing what the future is looking like and feeling like. And, I have we're in a divide now, but this is going to pass because I see some very transformative things coming for society, including what I call the great coming together. And with the great coming together, that usually means that there's going to be a trigger or a catalyst or an antagonist that's going to get people to think differently on a global scale. So we're going to go to our first break here, and then we'll be back here in just a few minutes with our special guest, Michael Okon, talking about all things spiritual, metaphysics, movies, books, or what I like to say, a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. We'll be back here in 2 minutes. This is Inspired Living Radio.
The cutting edge of conscious radio. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Have you wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
All right. Welcome back to Inspired Living Radio. Our special guest today, Michael Okon, talking about his books, Monsterland, but we're also talking about everything metaphysical, spiritual, universe, monsters, things unknown, movies, just having a lot of fun. You can check out his show with his brother, Okon Bros, on YouTube, and you can also go to michaelokon.com to get the books, to order, to see what's coming up. The Witches Protection Program, online book retailers. That's interesting, the Witches Protection Program. Tell me about that.
Really funny story. I was, out of all places, I was in the bathroom and I turned over. There was some magazines open, and my wife has like her People magazine or all this stuff, and there was like a caption, and it was like Neil Patrick Harris or something. I don't remember, but I turned to it. I looked at it. It was upside down, and I thought it said Witches Protection Program, and I said, "Oh, that's a great idea for a book." And I turned, I go, "Oh no, it meant Witless or Wetless Protection Program." It wasn't witches, but I read it wrong, and I go, "Oh my God!" I'm like, it's like Goodfellas, but with witches. And I started writing it.
Okay.
I started writing it that night, and it's about these two witches, these two factions of witches that are fighting throughout the centuries. It's finally coming to a head, and the Witches Protection Program has to stop these two. This was the Me Too movement. This was the Me Too movement before the Me Too movement. I wrote Witches Protection, I think, in 2015, before the Harvey Weinstein scandal, before all that stuff.
Yeah.
It really, I can't believe how prophetic I've been with all this stuff. I'm like knocking him out of the park. I just, I want the masses to see what I've written. And I think Monsterland's going to do it. I mean, I'm pretty convinced it's going to happen,
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and I love Goodfellas, so I'll have to check that out when it comes to Goodfellas and witches. But for the remaining part of the show, we're in the last section of our show, and it just goes by so quick. So we're going to have to bring you back for another episode, Michael, later in the year, because I could talk about this for hours.
I'm in. Same, man.
Hours
Same.
and
This
hours.
is great.
And let's talk about, you talked about the predictive work and what you're writing, because, again, it is a form of predictive psychic work, seeing, futurist. Again, I always go back to Gene Roddenberry, because he didn't talk about what he saw as a clairvoyant, which is the ability to see things that haven't necessarily happened yet, but he would write about it. And again, Star Trek, a lot of what he wrote is science fiction, has now become science fact as we move into space exploration, SpaceX. We're getting ready to send our first tourist here locally in Everett, just north of us in Seattle. He's one of the gentlemen that has a seat on Blue Origin that's going to go up into space and become a space tourist. So as we move into this new transformative Roaring Twenties of ours, what do you see coming down? What are you writing about, or what's that? That
great question. Great question. I wrote a manuscript. I'm really proud of this one, and I can't wait to see where this is going to go. Obviously, Monsterland. My time is now focused on finishing the Monsterland series, because when the movie gets made, I know that the next book's going to have to come out. So, I'm trying to put 100,000 words together for each of the books while telling a really cohesive, fun, interesting, exciting monster story. while keeping it like vintage, or keeping the pop culture out of it and making my own pop culture, kind of like Star Wars. You know, Star Wars wasn't referring to Gone with the Wind. Star Wars wasn't referring to Buck Rogers. It was creating its own universe. That's what I'm doing with Monsterland. And there's spin-offs that I want to write for Monsterland. But I wrote this book called Dragged Down Deep. And it's a manuscript, and it was I wrote it right after I finished watching The Creature from the Black Lagoon and Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's a modern day version of Indiana Jones meets Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's a cryptozoology thriller set in the Hamptons. It's about this creature who's terrorizing this small Hamptons town, and this kind of Indiana Jones, like he's got a tattoo sleeve, really cool guy, is trying to discover this monster, kind of the way Indy was trying to discover the Lost Ark in Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I think cryptozoology is going to be, I think the next 10 years, you're going to start seeing a lot of, cryptozoology is not just going to be like, you know, Ghost Adventures on Travel Channel or Finding Bigfoot. I think there's really going to be some huge strides in that industry. I think we've made contact. I think UFOs are real. I don't want to give away what book 3 of Monsterland is about, but aliens do make an appearance. So, you know, there's definite, and they play a huge role in the Monsterland universe. It's not just aliens passing by. But I do think that cryptozoology is going to be the next frontier of people. You know, I think that you're going to see the Loch Ness Monster. I think you're going to find, you know, the Chupacabra. I think that there's going to be more sightings, the Thunderbird. I'm sorry, the Firebird. I think there's going to be more of that in the next 10 years. I think aliens, I think it's inevitable. I've seen a UFO with my own 2 eyes. Yep. I've seen an archangel. Yeah. I'm sorry?
No, I said you and me both.
Yeah.
Yep, you and me both.
I was driving with one of our old business partners. He's not with us anymore. He's not in the business anymore. And I was with my brother and one of his friends. We were driving out east, and I saw this light, and this light was not moving like a normal light. It was just buzzing back and forth. And it wasn't like one of those lights at a movie premiere. It was this little tiny dot. It looked like an airplane in the sky, and it was really, really high up. And this light went to the left, and then it went to the right, and then it went to the left, and then seconds later it zoomed. I'm talking about 1,000 miles an hour just out of sight. And
I know physics, right?
100%. And I know I've done research on that because of the aliens in Monsterland. That aliens, I think aliens built the pyramids with the giants. Mm-hmm. I think that alien technology far surpasses human technology. I think that aliens have been visiting us for millennia, and you know, the initiated, the people that know about it, and the ones who are, you know, science based saying it can't happen, I just think they're naive, and I think that they're not open minded enough to know what the truth is. And you know, I don't look at it like a National Enquirer thing. I think this is real. You know, I believe in mediumship. I believe that this body that we're possessing, it's just this meat suit that we're living in, that there's a world of spirituality and archangels and demons and spirits that are out there. I work with dragons. I don't know if you've heard of dragon magic, but I had this great reading with this lady named Patty Negri, Pattynegri. She was one of the best mediums I've ever been to. She taught me about dragons, that dragons are spirit animals, and they can make anything you want happen in life. I have a dragon altar in my office, and you literally ask the dragon for something, and they bring it to you, like a puppy going to get throwing a frisbee out, bringing it back to you. You can't believe, and I believe in all that stuff. To me, it's as real as 100%.
Magic with a K. You got to have a little bit of belief in magic if you want to really start to see it, feel it, know it. You know, this roaring 20s that we're in with this report coming out on UAPs. I'm not expecting anything big because it's government based and vetted and you know redacted. But being that we're just having conversations about UAPs, which is funny because it's UFOs. Let's just be clear. They're just changing the name to say UAPs. It's UFOs.
It's a euphemism.
It's close encounter.
It's a euphemism. Right.
It's Close Encounters of the Third Kind that came out in the 70s. I always thought that Close Encounters of the Third Kind was a documentary, not an actual movie based on
100%.
how we communicate, colors and sounds and, moving the hand gestures. And it's going to be interesting. The cryptozoology, I agree with you. I think that there's going to be more, definitely Bigfoot. I'm in Bigfoot, headquarters here in the Pacific Northwest, going up to Canada. People are seeing something. And, whether that's, multidimensional, it defies the laws of physics. But I'm just excited because, academia, the critics, the skeptics, they're all starting to have conversations. And I just kind of follow, mainstream media, like 60 Minutes, that they're starting to have these reports, this drip, drip, drip format of it's out there. We know it's out there, but how do we present it to the public where the public doesn't get scared? And it's, we're just going to see more of this in the next, decade of our roaring 20s, which is going to include, aliens, things that we, think about it this way. We are, they may not even come from outer space. They may be here already on a planet.
They already
70%, right? 70% water. We
100%.
know about what? 10 to 15% of our ocean. We know more about our moon than we do our ocean. And the one thing that's always been interesting to me about the pyramids, you'd mentioned the pyramids, the way that they line up latitude and longitude correspond directly with Orion's belt in the universe up in the sky.
100%.
And the latitude and longitude actually add up mathematically to the same coordinates of the speed of light. That has always been for me just
I'm telling you that I explore all of this. I explore everything that you're talking about in Monsterland in the upcoming books.
Ooh,
everything from pyramids to giants giants are integral in the Monsterland universe. I believe the giants existed. I believe in the Sumerian epic. I believe in all that stuff because why the hell? Because why the hell not? Because my father came through a medium and said to me, Michael, go work with archangels. They'll get you anything you want. And you know what? He was 100% right. So what makes you think that the mainstream media or science knows exactly what they're talking about? They don't. They don't.
Yeah,
to me, that's the fun of writing about it. Everything in life to me.
Well, we're just going to say everything, us spiritualists, everything that we know in spiritualism is what physics and psychic has not yet caught up to. So
that's
we're already
exactly
ahead of
right.
the game. We just have to wait for it to catch up. It's this waiting game for them to catch up. And in the meantime, some people are going to call us, crazy as heck, and some people are going to call us for advice and, get, some guidance on this. So it's just kind of where we're at in society.
Listen, I said this to you when you were on Okon Bros. Star Wars was a documentary. George Lucas knew that the Force existed. He knew the spirituality. He knew that Yoda, illuminous beings we are, not this crude matter. He knew. Does that make him nuts? No, it makes him a realist. We're the realists. The people that don't believe in, if you can't see it, it doesn't exist. That's the people that are closed-minded. It's no offense. That's their opinion. I'm not trying to convince anyone.
Correct.
But I do believe that that our world, our universe, is at our command. The archangels are on tap for the slightest prayer. We have to learn. We have to grow in order to ask them. And, I think that the knowledge is just endless. And if you want to stop at a certain point, God bless you. Do what you have to do. I don't, it's really funny. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in a God. I don't believe there's a God in the sky with a beard and telling you you're good and you're bad and you're going to go to hell and this and that. I don't believe in that. I believe in something so much bigger, so much more expansive, something that is so beyond what our monkey brains can comprehend. That it really it's exciting, and that's what writing for me is about. I'm a conspiracy theorist, but that's what all writers are. Stephen King was a conspiracy theorist about The Shining, about it. Everything is about kind of twisting reality and saying, is there something bigger out there? And that's what that's what, to me, that's what writing is all about. The Meg, right? The movie The Meg, which was a book.
Oh yeah.
Does the Megalodon exist?
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah, I think the Meg exists. 100%. Yeah. But you know what? Some people, it's all bullshit, baloney. It doesn't matter. Blah blah. I think it does. It's really funny. I was writing Monsterland 3 beneath, and I have a whole thing with underwater, and I was using the Meg. I was using a Megalodon. And then it turned out the Meg came out, the movie came out. That's how long I've been working on this. The movie came out, and I said, I got to change it. So I made it a giant octopus. So the teens are going to have to battle a giant octopus in book 3.
Oh, I love it.
So,
well,
yeah,
Michael, you know, we could talk about this forever. We didn't even talk about the Matrix. We haven't talked. We're just skimming the surface.
God.
You're right. There's so much out there. You're right. God is just something that we put so we can have an understanding of what we don't know. And there's just a lot that we don't know out there. And it's that Joseph Campbell quote. You know, the cave we fear to seek usually holds the treasure we seek. And this decade is going to open up a lot of treasures in a lot of different caves.
100%.
But what's the one thing as we get ready to close the show here? Who or what inspires you, my friend?
Oh man, who or what? I mean, my family. My family is number 1, number 2, and number 3. My brother is my partner, my business partner. My wife is so supportive in everything I do. Even when I start talking about these conspiracies, she never makes me feel that I'm being foolish. You know, she's always so supportive. My kids inspire me. My mom is just, she's so supportive. My mom's a medium. She's a psychic medium. Lady Phyllis is her, ladyphyllis.com. You know, my entire family has been there for me, and, you know, they're the ones that keep me going every day, writing every single day, telling me this is good, this is not, and I take everything into consideration.
I love it. Well, Michael, thanks for being on Inspired Living Radio. Check him out at Okon Bros on YouTube or MichaelOkon.com. Thanks for being on the show. Until our next soul adventure together, you guys, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover that diamond within. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Namaste.
Thanks, Mark.